to another session with Intuitive Guidance with Torniamo. Today I have Amy with me, who is in a moment going to receive an intuitive tarot reading. Thank you so much, Amy, for joining into this. Just full disclosure, I have known Amy for a while, but it's always, it's interesting to give friends a tarot reading, but it's also an interesting challenge in on itself, right? Because I obviously know things about Amy, so it's also an interesting challenge for myself. Can I move beyond what I already know? And Amy, you said that you have not really had a tarot reading aside from that I have given you one sort of mini one in the past, right?
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward today. Really looking forward to experiencing the session and seeing what happens. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we can approach this in a few different ways, and it's your reading, so it's entirely up to you. We can just keep it open and see what the tarot wants to share with us today. You can ask a question if you like to, or we can pull some cards on a specific area of your life. What would you like, Amy?
I think maybe I would like to pull some cards on the future of my life.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
just see
this,
a little bit what might be coming up, so that I can think and respond about the next year. Um,
yeah,
yeah.
sure. So I suppose it's like the energy of 2026, like what's coming up in 2026.
Yeah.
Great. Let's do that. I always open by saying that the future is not set in stone, right? And this is just advice and guidance. At the end of the day, you still have to make your own decisions. And please don't make any life-altering decisions the moment we turn off just because Tor said so. I'm gonna like quit my job and I don't know, move to an ashram in India. Please don't do that. Sit
Leave for
with
the circus.
or join the circus, please don't do that. Like sit with it, be with it, um allow the energy to integrate and then take it from there. That's what I always say to people. And for those of you who are listening, the tarot have 78 cards, although this one actually has 80. Each card has a picture. Historically, each card has been assigned a meaning. I do, of course, work with those pictures and meanings, but also just work with what it is that I pick up in the moment. And what we are asking the tarot for is what kind of energies can Amy expect for 2026? Okay. And if I remember correctly, Amy, you're a Scorpio by star sign, right?
Yeah, very well remembered.
Okay. So I'll just talk you through the four different cards that I have pulled. So the first card that I have pulled is the Hermit reversed. Um, and that's an interesting card in the sense of that, upright, the Hermit is all about solitude, spending time by yourself, and just being in that more contemplative energy. There's also something in this card because as you can see on that card, this hermit is also holding a light, right? And so the hermit is also somebody who is showing the light for others and guiding others. It is about trusting your inner guidance. But with it being reversed, I think it has a few different meanings for you for 2026. First and foremost, I think it's not really a year of solitude, right? I think it's a year of getting out there, being out, having experiences, having also lots of variety, I think. I think that's what these cards are speaking to, especially with the other cards that are also coming up in a sense of like, yeah, don't spend too much time by yourself, socialize, meet new people, engage perhaps with experiences that you maybe haven't done before, go outside of your comfort zone. Because the thing with the hermit is that there's also a feeling of comfort and remaining in that comfort zone, whilst I think this card is suggesting all of that. I think though, where perhaps there is some imbalance or misalignment or growth is that I think this year also is challenging you to understand how can you also then, through your own experiences, become somebody who shows a light for others, right? This is perhaps something that you haven't leaned into. It could be as easy as, for example, let's say there's a mentoring scheme at work, right?
Mm.
Or perhaps there is a group of women or something that you haven't explored, and I think this is a year of you exploring how can you transform, alchemize, transmute your own experience of life into something that can also support other people. And perhaps the reason why it's showing up as reversed or is because perhaps you think that this is not something that you're capable of doing, or that like why would anybody listen to me, like I don't have anything to share. But actually I think by this showing up, I think you most certainly do. And I think that this is something that's going to, I think we're looking at like a 9 month timeline on this, because it's the ninth card of the tarot, if I'm reading that correctly. Yeah. It's the ninth card of the tarot. And so I think this energy is going to evolve over the next 9 months. And I think that's kind of where there's a choice here, right? There's always a choice in these kind of energies of that. Perhaps there's something for you to engage with in that way, basically. Maybe it's even, I mean, it could just to become a personal trainer, right? Do you see what I mean? Like it could even be just be something like that. I mean, now I that's me sort of knowing that you're into sports, but it could just becoming like a personal trainer, which is also showing a light for other people's. It's finding out how you can do that in a way which is aligned with your values, basically. I think that's what this card is trying to suggest. Have you thought about becoming a part-time personal trainer, Amy?
I have
Oh, have you? Because actually, this I don't know.
no, it's very interesting actually because I used to be a teacher and very much like that mentoring,
Mm,
guiding, encouraging people to grow aspect
mm.
of my practice, and it's something I miss a lot now. I don't do that in my daily work.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And, yeah, I was thinking that, yeah, how to translate like some of the sports practice that I do, and like business mentorship, and maybe also like financial health for women into a package essentially. So like helping people think about their
Oh,
finances,
lovely.
their bodies, how they can live healthy lives in terms of taking charge of their business ideas, their financial future, and their physical health. So, very interesting that you say that.
Oh, lovely. And this, I had no idea. That's amazing. And I think that's such a good, because yeah, it just dawned on me at the end, this thing about sports. I was just like, she should do that, you know? Because I hadn't thought about you taking that to the next level, but I think that makes a tremendous amount of sense. And I think this is interesting because um, the next card then, and I think this is very much aligned with the previous card, which is the Two of Coins upright. And as you can see, this woman, she is dancing and she is balancing these two coins. And I think this very much speaks to your career in many ways, which is I think that over this year, there will be a shift in your career. And I think it's about balancing a few different elements at once, which is precisely what you just talked about. I feel that at some point you're going to have to some degree choose, right? Like where you take it. But I feel like this year, will be about, yeah, finding balance between sort of your more quote unquote corporate job and also like your more creative practice outside of work that you were just talking about. Like, how can you over this year begin to build the foundations of what that, in a lack of a better word, side hustle is going to look like, basically. I think that's what's going to unfold this year. It's not a fast-paced energy. It has a steady energy to it. So it's like, I think what the cards are suggesting is like take your time, experiment, like just start small, make it MVP and then iterate over time, right? And figure out what works and what doesn't work and trying to figure out what the market is for that. I think that's what this card is trying to say. Because the thing is, you know, let's say, which we don't, but let's say we had like a tower card here. That'd be like, let's erupt now and change everything and yada yada yada. That's not what's here. It has a much more sort of steady energy to it. So that's really exciting. I'm really excited for you. That's really cool. I love it.
Mm, that's very, very interesting because as soon as you pulled that card, um, we were just talking about like potential new ways of working and aligning the things that I value with what I'm doing. And I just met a new friend at my job who he works 7 and 10 because it's very, very flexible, the place that I work. Um,
Mm,
and there is a great potential for me to essentially like work more hours in the early week and basically not work Fridays. So that was what I
mm,
was. I have been contemplating whether that's an option that I move towards to free up longer weekends to then essentially like see where the things that I do that I really love, if I really lean in, where their life
mm.
takes me. So that's very, very interesting because it's very much something that's been ticking in the back of my mind too. Yeah.
All right. I love that. That's awesome.
Mm.
This next card looks scary, but it's actually really good. And I think in some ways you're actually going to resonate with it. And so the next card that I pull for you is the Ten of Swords. And as you can see, this person is like face planted, and there's like 10 swords in their back. And the energy of this card is like, I've had enough. It's an end of cycles. I've had enough. And I think what this card is suggesting that 2026 is going to be a year where experiences, people, spaces from the past will be released and let go of. So I think a lot of the things that's been like creating, like these swords in your back represents energies from the past that is now going to be released and is going to be in feeling of end of cycles. I mean, it's the end of the year of the snake, and we're stepping into the year of the fire horse, right? And the year of the snake is all about shedding the skin, and then the fire horse is all about new creations. And so I think that's also what's very much in this card. And I think this energy is probably going to what's the word I'm looking for? This energy is going to like reverberate throughout the year, and then I think around October there's going to be like real feeling of release because this is the 10th card of the storage suit. So I think like over those next 10 months, like it's going to feel lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter, and then towards October there's going to be a real feeling of like release through that time period, which I suppose also comes towards your birthday, right? Because that your birthday is around that time, isn't it? Wouldn't it be?
That is true. My birthday is in 13th of November.
Yeah.
Again, it's uncanny that you've just mentioned that because as you were talking about October, I haven't really celebrated my birthday for the last couple of years because
Mm,
been a lot of change in my life and it
mm.
just didn't feel like the right moment to be the center of attention and have that like energy to kind of pour into that sort of celebration. And when you were like, oh, the feeling of release will come in October, the first thing I thought is maybe I'll celebrate my birthday this year. Maybe I'll
I
have,
think so.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so. We should definitely do that. That'd be so fun.
Yeah.
I was watching, did you ever watch Charmed?
Oh, I I do remember it, but I don't remember lots.
So in the first episode, Prue is being a prude, and there's something about her birthday, and she doesn't want to celebrate it. And I think it's in the first episode. And at the end of the episode, she has decided that she's going to celebrate her birthday and that she's going to do it forever from that time. Because yeah, it's the passing of time. I think there is something. I also have a sort of, oh, should I bother? But it's still like, you came to my birthday this year and it was really lovely. It was a really
Sure.
wholesome, cute little celebration. And that was really, really nice. And so I think, one can do one's birthday in the way that one wants to do them. It doesn't have to be like everybody else does it. And so I think that's really nice.
Yeah.
And that's actually that episode because I started rewatching a bit of Charmed, and that's actually the episode that inspired me to do my birthday in the way that I did this year, so I can like pass that energy over to you, basically.
Yeah, I say it sounds like you should also pass me a link for that episode of Charmed as well.
I would, I wonder if I think it might be is it the first one? I'll have to look. I'll have to look. The last card that I have pulled is the King of Wands, and this card is also reversed. And when it's upright, it's all about um, sort of bold creativity and assertiveness and confidence and sort of entrepreneurship. And so what does it mean for you in this moment with it being reversed? I think it's kind of connected to the first card of the Hermit being reversed, because both of those two cards are reversed. And I think that, I think it comes back to the idea that perhaps there is some resistance in you, or an imbalance, or a fear around, like, have I got what I need to do the experimentation, to explore in an open-ended way? And perhaps, I don't know. Let's say you're thinking about actually, I suppose this is something that I know about you, is that you do have a character largely which is very sensible, right? And like sensible with money, sensible with everything. And I think perhaps there is an invitation there to allow yourself to be, I mean, that's very bad grammar, but there's an invitation there to be, no, I was going to be insensible because that's not a word, but not, there's an invitation there to perhaps this year allowing yourself to take some risks and not entirely be sensible all the time, basically.
Mm.
I think that's because that's the thing with my dear friend Lorraine. She says that I am the king of wands because I just sort of take a risk and have a leap of faith and be like, oh, it's gonna be fine, it'll be fine. I don't have all the things that I need, but it's gonna be fine. And I think that perhaps there's also some faith in that card. So again, with it being reversed, perhaps there's some lack of faith. And so I think there's some invitation there to try and understand for yourself in this year, how can you cultivate and not foster more faith and trust in your path and also in the decisions that you've made recently, right? Just really settling into that feeling.
Yeah, that's so nice. I think that I do feel uncertain about this year for sure.
Mm, mm,
There's been a lot of change in 2025, and I think that um there's a little bit of yeah, building that faith and that trust in the idea that the future is going to be stable and good and positive, and there's going to be space for exploration and new things, and that not to feel panicky and uncertain, but like
mm.
exciting, interesting. And I think because there's been so much change, there is a hesitancy in me at the moment to embrace risk and chase adventure because
Mm,
when the future looks so open-ended and you're unsure of what that will look like in comparison to the last decade that you've lived or whatever, the the tendency is to go like, what can I hold on to that will give that a sense of structure?
mm,
And perhaps that, that does breed a little risk aversion. So I think that's
mm.
quite interesting because the idea of having faith and trust in where I'll go next, or in myself to be able to meet any challenges that come up from taking
Yeah.
these risks is an interesting kind of proposition, right? Because it's more
Mm,
about I've got me and I've got my future and I can handle any consequences of taking risks. So why not allow that to be a part or allow that to be my some of my options, right? Rather than
yeah, yeah.
about it, which I think is very interesting. Yeah.
That is really, really interesting. And I think that's you have just pointed towards something which so many people forget, and it's beautiful that you said it, is that, the future will be what the future will be, but you have the strength to face whatever that challenge is.
Mm. Yeah.
So sometimes, because that's just life, sometimes stuff goes wrong, and that's okay.
Yeah, and perhaps, yeah, having that trust that you can turn challenge or risk or things that haven't gone quite the way that you expected into something good, or at least
Yeah,
learn, right? So
yeah,
it's about that ability rather than
yeah,
to control what the future actually has, right?
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
What
that's interesting.
one that is it. That is it. That is if there's anything I ever want to impart to any clients, it is precisely that sentiment. And that's a beautiful way to start the year.
Yeah. Okay.
It's easier said than done, but I think you are on the right path in that way. 100%.
Yeah. And I think it does come full circle to the first card in a way, which is
Yeah.
the
The hermit
hermit.
reverse.
Yeah, which is kind of like some of that needs to be um reflection time and like steady, peaceful and calm and thinking about um how do I embody that? Um,
Hmm.
and then the other part is about trying to move forwards with new things in a way that's like based in that energy
Mm-hmm.
rather than in a kind of like throw it all up in the air and just see what chaos happens.
Hmm.
um so I think there's the balance in the cards has been quite beautiful today
I
actually.
think so. Yeah. I would tend to agree. Any final thoughts, any final questions before we leave it at that?
No, I mean I don't. I think it's just I've been making notes
Great, 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 great.
so that I can take things away and just like what a lovely experience of my first tarot reading. It's Yeah, it's been very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. No, it's my pleasure. And for everybody else who's been listening in, thank you so much for tuning in. If you want a more personalized reading with me, you can do so by looking at the description below this video. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.